What's up? What's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Carolina Panthers Talk video brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming here on the U to the Tube. I'm your host, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. So, Carolina Panthers now have not only their president of football operations, but also their general manager. And it ended up being former assistant general manager Dan Morgan. Yeah. Well, not exactly who I thought would get the nod, but wanted to get on here and kind of give my thoughts on this hire. So I took some time to sit down and really think about this because initially I was not thrilled with the news. But then, I took some time to sit down and really think about this. Now, there's some pros and cons to this hire. There are pros and cons. Now, there's some things that stand out to me that make me feel kind of weird about this hiring. First off, this guy was Dan Morgan. Like I said, I respect Dan Morgan. He was an awesome linebacker for the Carolina Panthers when he used to played in the league for 7 years. What I don't understand is he was the assistant general manager and such to Scott Fitterer. The organization fired Scott Fitterer. So it really surprises me. They fired Scott Fitterer and promoted Dan Morgan. I don't know, just something doesn't look right about that move. Like you fired Scott Fitterer, which I assume gave me the idea that they were going to just go off to a fresh start. But instead, promoted Dan Morgan to not only president of football operations, but also general manager. So, thought that was a very sus move. Secondly, was Dan Morgan also a yes man? It makes me wonder because he was in the room where all these decisions were made, all these past decisions, that were made. And it makes me wonder how much pushback did Dan Morgan attempt before just Scott Fitterer or Mr. Tepper's decision became final and pretty much overruled Dan Morgan's. That's something that makes me wonder. Third, part of me feels like the main advantage that he has is being that he's been in this situation here, that maybe with him being general manager and president of football operations, this is his opportunity to make the decisions and put the things in place to really get a good start on cleaning up this mess. Which I really hope that with David Tepper making the decision to hire him as general manager and president of football operations, I hope that this is a sign that Tepper is saying, you know what? It's all in your hands. You got this double role. It's in your hands. You run the show. You make the decisions. You take care of the staff, the coaching. It's on you. And I hope, with that being said, this also means no more meddling from David Tepper, which would be a huge start for this franchise. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it'll get all cleaned up. It's probably going to take a handful of years, maybe 4 at the max, or less, preferably less, maybe 3. But it's going to take time. But if David Tepper, if this is him turning a new leaf and letting the folks, the coaches, GM, everybody do their job, I believe this franchise will start to turn around. Now, like I said, Dan Morgan wasn't my top choice because, like I said, I was under the impression they were going to start somebody fresh. Not only that, David Tepper supposedly hired a firm, a consulting firm or whatnot, that I guess was supposed to be able to provide advice or whatnot in these type of decisions, but yet ended up promoting within house with Dan Morgan. So I guess how much of that firm helped or whatnot remains to be seen. But I mean, he's had some success scouting departments with the Seahawks as well as with the Bills. So Dan Morgan has at least helped put some teams together. You know, however big or small the percentage. So, like I said, there's some pros and cons to this decision. I don't think it was 100% bad, 100% good. I see the good and the bad with this move. I think ultimately it comes down to how Dan Morgan does and that Mr. Tepper doesn't meddle. Now, I'm happy that they got the GM first, because I think the GM should be gotten first and then the coach. So I like the way that was done. So now I think really it just comes down to they got to hit a home run on this coaching selection, and then they need to hit multiple home runs on the rest of the personnel. This is a must. Now, you know, with that being said, congratulations to Dan Morgan on becoming the new president of football operations and our new general manager. I wish you the best. I hope you do well. I hope David Tepper doesn't meddle, and if he does try to meddle, dude, you got to let that stuff go in one ear and out the other. Period. You need to be bold. Yes, I understand Mr. Tepper's the owner, he's signing your paychecks, but dude, you need to be bold. You need to be the decision maker when it comes to the coaching, the staff, the personnel. You need to be the main decision maker. And I'm saying, if David Tepper, if you were man enough to give him this double duty position, then let Dan do his job. Let him do his job. That's all I'm saying. Don't meddle. Let him do his job. Because this franchise has a lot to clean up. A lot. Now, as far as coaching, because I know that's next. That's next on the list. One second. That's next on the list. Now, if you ask me, I personally think the head coach is going to end up being Ben Johnson. I would not mind Bobby Slowick. And maybe Raheem Morris. But I also think Dave Canellis, because him and Dan Morgan have a relationship. They're tight. They've worked together. It's possible that Dave Canellis, offense coordinator from the Bucks, may end up getting the nod. And I know Coach Avero Ajaro, got a second interview. So, overall, I don't want Dan Quinn. I'll be pretty tolerant of everybody else, but I do not want Dan Quinn. I think if we can get, and Brian Callahan, he's off the list because the Texans, it looks like the Texans are finalizing a deal to get him as the new head coach. I would not be totally against Mike Vrabel, but I don't think he wants to come here. And that's another thing, is still being able to sell a coach on coming to Carolina. And the thing is, with Ben Johnson, if the Lions end up winning the Super Bowl, he's going to have ginormous options. And I doubt Carolina will be one of them. I hate to say it, but if the Lions win the Super Bowl, Ben Johnson he's not going to want to come coach here. He's not going to want to come coach here. I can tell you that right now. Like I said, Bobby Slowick, I think, would be good, especially with Bryce Young's development. Like I said, no to Dan Quinn. Raheem Morris, I think a big thing with Raheem Morris is experience, and I think he would really help reigniting some culture here in the Carolinas, which is something we've been lacking since Cam. Well, really, since Steve Wilkes, because Steve Wilkes definitely helped. So Raheem Morris, I think Raheem Morris would do really well. But yeah, we have to really be on point with this coach, this head coach. We got the GM, got the president of football operations. We got to hit a home run on this coach and coaching staff. So, like I said, it's going to take some years to really get everything back up to where we're not the joke of the franchise anymore. It's going to take time. But, like I said, this wasn't my first choice. But you know what? We'll see what happens. Like I said, I feel like there's pros and cons to Dan Morgan being the new GM and president of football operations. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But it is what it is. Yeah, that's pretty much all that I have. That's all that I have. And I put the link in the description to the article about Dan Morgan and also about the coaching as well. So those will be in there for you to view. Let me know what y'all's thoughts are. How do y'all feel about Dan Morgan as the new Carolina Panthers president of football operations and general manager? Let me know what your thoughts are. With that out of the way, who do you think the new head coach will be for Carolina? Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know your picks. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. For another Carolina Panthers talk, brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming here on the U to the Tube. I'm your host, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. Hope everybody has a blessed evening, and I will see y'all in the next video. Laters.